Hello, this is Spartan Commander, and this is the 160th Rome Total War Brotherhood game that I've put onto YouTube. The team I'm in today consists of Brotherhood member LIONDWARF, who's bought the Rome Julii faction. And then we have myself, Spartan Commander, who's bought the Rome SPQR faction. And then we have Brotherhood member CONAN, who has bought the Rome SPQR faction as well. As you know, Brotherhood CONAN, member CONAN and Brotherhood member Canon were the founders of the Brotherhood. And believe it or not, this January coming 2016, the Brotherhood will be 11 years old. And so the foundations that Conan and Canon put in place all those years ago have proved to be very strong. At this stage of the battle, I thought we'd have a look at Brotherhood member LIONDWARF's army here. As you can see, he's bought 18 units of infantry and only 2 units of cavalry. So it'll be interesting to see if the number of infantry will make up for the lack of cavalry in this battle. 18 infantry is a lot to bring, but when you see the enemy we're up against, you might understand why he's bought such a large infantry army. I also thought at this time in the battle we'd have a look at Conan's army here as well. As you can see, Conan has bought 4 archer units. That's quite a bit for a 31k battle. And also he's bought the Roman armoured cavalry general. Up to about 7 years ago, the Roman cav general is what we all used to bring with our Roman armies. So it's nice to see a bit of old school cavalry general there by Conan. They're difficult to kill. It's a difficult to kill unit. It's fast moving and can do a lot of damage. So it looks pretty good to me. I think Conan's bought 12 units of infantry, and not a lot of infantry for the modern 31-day battlefield, and 3 cavalry. So I think it's an interesting army, and it should be interesting to see how well it does. And here is the other team. We have NOS INDI, who has bought the Rome BROTHERHOOD faction. Then we have IOW BOBERTULUS, who has bought the Greek cities faction there. Looking at that Greek cities army there, it looks pretty tough. I think it's got 2 units of, maybe 2 or 3 units of archers, but a lot of Spartans there with their 2 hit points. So whenever you see Greek cities against you, you always know you have a challenge. And then we have IOW BELISARIUS, who has bought the Macedon faction there. So as you can see, we're up against a lot of pikes. It should be interesting to see how our Roman armies will do against these enemies. It should be a great battle for you to watch, and I hope you enjoy it. At this very early stage of the battle, you can see that Brotherhood member LIONDWARF with his Julii Roman army there are advancing towards the enemy Macedon army there. It looks to me that LIONDWARF is made up his mind to be very aggressive in this battle, and will probably go for Macedon big time there. Meanwhile, over on our left flank here, you can see that the enemy Brutii cavalry and infantry are advancing onto Conan. And as you can see, Conan is advancing to meet them as well. So I think there's 2 aggressive players here over on our left flank. Should be an interesting one here. I got a feeling this battle is probably going to see action all over it. So I'll do my best to try and flick all over the battlefield for you to actually see what's happening all over the place there. As you can see, the enemy Brutii infantry are moving in there, and if you notice that Conan's moved his infantry out to meet it. Okay, we're just going to pause the game here for us to take stock at this very early stage of the battle. As you can see here on the left flank, Conan with his SPQR army is aggressively meeting the enemy, I think it's INDI's Brutii army there. So it'd be interesting to see what happens there. Meanwhile, over in the centre here, can you see that the enemy Greek cities is running, making their way towards my Rome SPQR army there. Wouldn't surprise me if he ran those Greek cities straight into my army there. Meanwhile, over on our right flank here, you can see that Brotherhood member LIONDWARF has moved his Julii army out in a wide flanking action here to turn the flank of the enemy. And if you notice in Macedon, pikemen now have turned outwards to face his army there. So there's an overview, if you like, an overall view of the battle there, and it'll be interesting to see what happens next. I think Conan's archers have caused a lot of casualties to the enemy Brutii infantry as they were moving forward. And meanwhile, over in the centre here, there you see the Greek city's army now has ran straight in to my Rome SPQR army there. That was a deliberate, aggressive attacking move there by the Greek city's general. Right, let's just pause the game here for a second, because I'd like to ask a tactical question of new players watching this. If you were in charge of my SPQR army here and you saw this Greek city's army smash into your army here in a deliberate attacking movement, what would you do? Would you just, can you see I'm throwing loads of pilers in there? Can you see it's like raining pilers onto those Spartans there? But with their 2 hit points, they can take a lot of damage before it kills any of them. Right, would you, if you were in charge of this SPQ army, would you charge forward and meet the attack with attack? You charge your Roman infantry into those Greek cities infantry, or would you pull back? Would you pull your SPQR army back? If you did that, you'd probably lose the first few units at the front of your army there. They'd probably rout, and then the Greek cities would just run after you anyway. So if you were in charge of this SPQR army, what would you do against this aggressive attack by the Greek cities? Interesting. Let's see what happens. Right, well, as you can see, the Greek cities are really putting the pressure on my forward units there. So what I'm going to do the standard counter to being attacked by the pike armies, and that is I'm going to put my forward units into testudo. Now, testudo will slow up the pike armies' advance and will also possibly break up their battle line as they move forward as well. Can you see my units are going into testudo now in anticipation of the Greek cities' advance? I think all my units now have basically thrown their pilers into those Spartans. Let's pause the game for a second to take stock of everything that's happening. Meanwhile, over on our left flank here, can you see that Conan's cavalry, I think, is glitched a little bit there from what I can see. But it looks like a really tough battle here over on our left flank. I don't think there's no quarter being asked for and no quarter being given on this left flank. Very aggressive, tough fighting here. And as we come back over to the right flank there, you can see that LIONDWARF's 18 infantry army could well be just the thing we needed for this battle against all these pike units. So it'll be interesting to see if those 18 infantry do make the difference towards the end of the battle. For a start off, there's 18 infantry units of pilers that are going to go into those Macedon pikemen, which are going to cause massive damage, because those Macedon pikemen are very, very susceptible to piler and arrow damage there. So my guess is that 18 units of Urbans throwing their pilers into those Macedons are going to cause a big lot of casualties for them. Okay. As you can see here, the Greek city's army is still advancing onto my testudo units here. But if you notice, I'm sending my cavalry over to the left flank here to help my ally Conan out here. I've only got 5 cavalry in this game, but I'm sending them over to help Conan out as much as I can. If you notice, the enemy Macedon cavalry is helping their Brutii ally out. And if you notice that LIONDWARF's just brought his 2 Julii cavalry units in behind there. As you see, LIONDWARF and myself both trying to help Conan out as much as we can. New players watching this, remember, team battles are just that. Team battles. We all help each other out as much as we can, and we try and get reinforcements to the hot spots on the battlefield as quick as we can, especially to help our allies out. Meanwhile, here in the centre, you can see the Greek cities are pressing home their attack. As you see, I've put a lot of my forward units into testudo. I'm taking 1 unit out to the flank. Let's just pause the game here for a second. 1 unit out to the flank there to charge into the back of attacking Greek cities units there. There's a close-up of actually what's happening. As you can see, the Greek cities are very aggressively attacking my forward units there. But also, if you notice that LIONDWARF has brought some of his Julii units over to help me as well. Meanwhile, over on our left flank here, you can see it's still very much up in the air here, this battle. There's SPQR units routing, as well as Brutii units and Macedon units routing. If you notice, I've pulled my cavalry back from the fray with a mine to charge them back in. And as you can see, the cavalry charging back in, and bang, as that cavalry hits. 5 units there, 5 cavalry units of 5 cavalry charge bonus just hitting in there. Didn't seem to rout many of the enemy troops there, but my guess is that I caused a lot of casualties there. But it's very to and fro there over on our left flank. As you can see here, the Greek cities seem to be making inroads into my forward units, my SBQR forward units there, with their aggressive attacking tactics there. And if you notice that LIONDWARF is being very aggressive with the Macedon enemy army as well. If you notice, he split his army into two. Well, of course, if you've got 18 infantry units, it's easy to split your army into two there. And it wouldn't surprise me if he took his secondary army round the back, or even around the back or the flank of the Macedon pikemen there. If you notice, the Macedon general spotted what LIONDWARF was doing and is moving his pike units over to counter that movement by LIONDWARF. Lots of really nice tactical moves going on in this game. Okay, meanwhile over on our left flank here, I'm charging my cavalry in again, once again trying to help Conan out. As that cavalry hits again, good impact. Of course, we're trying to kill that Brutii general there. As you see in another battle video, kill the general, then all his troops, then his morale drops, and that's a very good thing if you can kill the enemy general there. You can see my cavalry is really pressing home there, as well as Conan's. And it wouldn't surprise me if the Brutii general routed pretty soon. And there you go. So we've done very well over on the left flank there. Meanwhile, back in the centre and on the right here, you can see LIONDWARF's moved his Julii infantry round with a view to trying to get in behind them. Right, let's just pause the game for a second for us to take stock of exactly what's going on here. As you can see, the Greek cities, as all the way through the battle, extremely aggressive, attacking my SPQR units here, but also sending units off to counter my allies' Julii units that are attacking the flank as well there. So you can see there's a lot going on at the moment. Nice, as I said, nice little tactical move there by LIONDWARF, getting his secondary army round behind the Macedon pikemen, but nice spotting by the Macedon general there to counter that move. Okay, now we've finished off the Brutii enemy on our left after a really tough battle. We just hope that Conan will be able to get over his battle damaged units to try and help us a bit there. As you can see, when you've got your infantry in testudo, it does make it difficult for the enemy to break through there. I've taken some of my units out of testudo now to actually just to try and fight the Greek cities here. What my job was basically there was to try and tie up the Greek cities as much as I could, allowing my allies to try and deal with the other enemy factions there, and also by using my cavalry to help Conan over on that that left flank. Right, can you see? LIONDWARF sending his 2 units of cavalry in there, smashed into the side of that Macedon pike unit and caused it to rout. Nice little hit there by LIONDWARF. See this Macedon unit here coming in behind my SBQR infantry there, that Macedon cavalry unit. Right, did you see that LIONDWARF charged his 2 cavalry units in, did what he wanted to, and then pulled them back out again? Nice little move there by LIONDWARF. If you notice here over on our left, you can see that Conan now is bringing his SBQR infantry across to help. If you notice that LIONDWARF only had 2 cavalry units, but he's used them extremely aggressively, and he's like kind of surgically struck with those 2 units and caused a lot of damage to the enemy. Okay, let's pause the game for a second to take stock of what's actually happening. As you can see here, as I said earlier, the Greek cities are still trying to press forward, still attacking my SBQR infantry in a very aggressive manner. But because of my allies' assistance, a lot of the Greek cities units now have been pulled off of my army to assist their allies. As you see, Conan's moved across now from our left flank, looking for a way to try and ease his infantry in. Obviously, we don't want to fight the pikes head on if we can help it. If we can see an easier way to get into their flanks or rear, we'll do that. But if necessary, we will take them on head on. As you can see, several of the Macedon pike units are starting to rout now. Macedon's morale is not that good. So if their infantry start feeling under a lot of pressure, you could see a lot of their infantry start to chain rout. If you notice, I've pulled my SBQR general away from the advancing Greek cities because I don't want that my general killed. I just want it stood at the back of my army, giving moral support and more morale support to my fighting units there. There's a close-up of the Greek cities there, fighting with my units and Conan's units coming in from the left there. If you notice at the back, can you see I've sent my SBQR cavalry in with a charge. As it hits, as my cavalry charge hits, did you notice that LIONDWARF sent in his 2 Julii cavalry units there, and we've caused a lot of Macedon units to rout. In fact, that cavalry charge we've just done there and all the pressure of the infantry attacking them have caused a mass rout of the Macedon units. Now this will affect the Greek cities because they'll know their allies have mass routed, and the Greek cities' morale itself will drop. Even though those Spartans units have got excellent morale, my guess is that they will chain rout, especially with all the pressure of our infantry and the cavalry going in as well there. And we just seem to have managed to go on and win the battle there after a really tough fight. I must say, when I saw we were up against Greek cities and Macedon, I wondered how well we would do there. So first thing I'd like to say is really well done to everybody in the game. Some really great aggressive attacking moves and some really great teamwork and really good support as well, I think, in this battle. There was lots to see, and I thought it was interesting having our 3 Roman armies going up against an enemy Roman army and 2 pike armies, especially the Greek cities. I thought it was interesting for maybe new players to see that. If you notice, Brotherhood member LIONDWARF with his Julii army there has got over 2,000 kills. Now getting over 2,000 kills is still quite rare. I know we were fighting Macedon with their big 120 man units, but getting over 2,000 kills is still pretty good, and you don't see it that often. So well done to LIONDWARF, and well done to Conan. I thought he fought a really good aggressive battle over there on the left flank. And I'd just like to say really well done to the other team too. I liked how their aggressive attacking strategy was really working. And it was, as you can see, we're lucky to get a clear victory there. Hope you enjoyed the battle. This is Spartan Commander saying look forward to seeing you soon, and bye for now.